All right, it's day 2 at the One Moto, and we're gonna go and film some shit. Let's do this. This is Amber, and ta-da! Hello, world. I've got 6 followers, so they're gonna be very impressed.
Wow. 6 followers?
Yeah.
It's an 03 Triumph. We were brought this bike by Ryan Stunt Double, and he gave us a concept picture. Was like, "Can you build this?" I knew what the concept picture was, and I knew it hadn't been built. So we're kind of like, "Yep, we can't build that, but we can build a version of. We can build it pretty close to that." And yeah, we kind of went from there. We went to source the bike, went with him, found the right bike to fit the image that he wanted and everything. So that worked out pretty well, but pretty much as soon as we got started, COVID hit, couldn't get parts, couldn't get anything, so it's been a long process to get this one across the line.
I think one of the bigger challenges was the monoshock conversion was really tricky. That was a lot of math, a lot of science. Same with the custom exhaust. When you're trying to make this bike, wanted to be symmetrical. We wanted to have symmetry with the bike. Thank God Clancy's a genius, because a motor bike, just by its existence, is not symmetrical. It can't really be. So to try to give the illusion of a symmetrical exhaust was a huge challenge. It was math, a lot of pie cuts, so many pie cuts, all the pie cuts. There were a lot of pie cuts.
A lot of pie cuts.
Pie cuts. Hashtag pie cuts. So there were a lot of challenges, quite literally blood, sweat, and tears. Thank God this guy is a mad genius, and he's very task-specific and task-oriented, and he doesn't quit on anything, including his friends, thank God.
But for me, like, one of the big things with this bike was the symmetry. So making that exhaust perfect on each side, things like the levers. So the levers are from Messner, but they're both hydraulic. And we didn't want to run one hydraulic because this originally had a cable clutch, so we had to convert it to a hydraulic setup, because just to have those symmetrical matching levers, you know, it had to be perfect. So that was kind of challenging to set all that up. But St. Motion Moto out in Ontario, they hooked us up and helped us out with that. Harbinger Customs built the monoshock for us. You know, we had a lot of people who collaborated on this with us and kind of came through for us. So
we have a great Cognito Moto front end setup.
Yeah.
They were kind of the first guys to come on board with us with this front end Cognito conversion, with this crown and the integrated gauge in the crown. That was really cool for us, and we've had just so many people come and help and you know, give us their time and their product, and it became a hell of a build in the end.
Yeah.
And we wanted carburetors. So the 03 was carbureted, so we like carbureted vehicles.
Yeah.
We like carbureted motorcycles, so we went with the 03 because there's so much you could do with the carburetors. It also shoots flames, should we desire it to shoot flames.
Like I said, color theme was already kind of picked for it, so we're just running with that. But pipes, like we said, all the pie cuts. There was a lot of, I've remade these things probably 3 times in the whole process, just because, you know, you kind of like go down a bit of a hole here where you end up off kilter and you realize 10 pie cuts ago, the angle wasn't quite right, you know, and that kind of throws it all
by
off.
Quite literal, like millimeters.
Yeah.
But enough to drive you crazy.
Yeah. You know, the whole thing with this was symmetry. The exhaust had to be symmetrical. The levers had to be symmetrical. It all had to be symmetrical. So it had to be perfect. So there was a lot of hours cutting it all back apart, remaking it, doing all that sort of stuff. You know, The engine, tuning, all that sort of stuff, velocity stacks, you know, all the usual suspects there. A lot of trial and error in the tuning and getting all that right. Bracketry and everything for the rear set setup. Because we'd chopped all the back end off, there wasn't any kind of bolt up part for a Triumph like from LSL or whatever that would bolt up. These are our LSL rear sets, but we had to do a whole bunch of custom work because we just chopped the whole back end off and there was nothing to attach anything to. So bit of work there, kind of making all that work. Like I said, Hagon came through with the custom building a monoshock for us, and they helped us out with all the geometry and everything to get that working nice. Ace Cafe for the seats, or Alpha Cafe Racer. He made a custom seat for us, so I got to actually make the subframe and then custom make the seat for that.
Yeah, so Clancy built this subframe. It was, you know, this was the end design. There were a few different designs early on. This became structurally and visibly, artistically very appealing. And then, yeah, Alpha Cafe came in and they fit the seat specifically to this subframe. We were really keen on this diamond stitch, and he knocked it out of the park for us on that.
Yeah, diamond stitch, brown stitching, you know, it blends really well. Yeah, and then the back end matched the front hoop and built nose wheels, gold chain. And yeah, the swing arm we did cut up and reinforce everything inside of that. Just, you know, maybe it didn't need to be done, but just for, you know, over-engineering.
Did we need a gold chain? No. Did we want a gold chain? I sure as hell did.
Yeah.
I was like, you think we can get a gold chain? Oh, fuck yeah, we get a gold chain.
Yeah, gotta have it. But yeah, all in all, this build, it was epic. It took everything out of my soul, but it was so much fun. And seeing it here under the big lights, it's at the One Show, it's, you know.
It's quite literally soul refueling.
Yeah.
To see it here, to see the love it's getting here at the One Show.
The love that this has gotten has inspired the next one, so.
Yeah.
Harbinger Media is just taking off. We're getting into all the media stuff, so we've got a podcast coming up, Caffeine and Gasoline. We've also got our YouTube channel we're shooting a bunch of content for. You can check us out on Instagram at harbingercustoms.ca or head over to our website, harbingercustoms.com. You can kind of check us out there.
Stay tuned for Clancy's Garage, which is going to be episodic on YouTube. What else? Merchandise will be available on the website. We also have access to a lot of cool vendors via our website. What else?
Yeah, coming soon, web store, merchandise, all kinds of brands. We're going to be stocking a bunch of purpose-built moto stuff and all kinds of things that we put onto this build. So, yeah, trying to bring all those cool custom parts to North America.
Hey all, thanks so much for watching. It's been a real pleasure to film and edit that. And also a real pleasure to be at the One Moto. So thanks for the guys at Harbinger Customs for letting me do that interview and for making cool shit in the world. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, put some comments down, whatever to help the YouTube algorithm. Thanks again and see you next time. Ciao, ciao.